There's a reason I'm doing that. That's better. Much better. .189. Where was the dot? Yeah, it's that head thing. It's the tactical turtle thing. Yep, there's the dot. It does make a difference. Shane, you were right. My hands are so dry they skip right off. Yeah, on the inside. .204. Okay, what am I doing? I'm getting accustomed to my red dot. Not actually a red dot, it's an amber dot because it runs off fiber optics. This is the RMR, I believe it's the 04 from Tritium. It runs off fiber optics and I love it. It is a really, really good optic. It has truly surprised me. It has improved. I mean, at 7 yards, the dot is roughly the size of a dime, so it gets it done. It runs off fiber optics. It has a tritium canister on the inside, a vial of tritium H3 that glows for like 30 years or whatever, and it's perfectly viewable at night. No batteries whatsoever. Everything you love about the RMR and nothing that you don't, which is the battery issue. Wipe a little baby oil, a little diluted baby soap front and back so you don't have fogging issues, and you end up with an optic that gets it done and then some. So, point of the video, someone's going to ask, what's the point of the video? The point of the video is getting accustomed to a red dot. Getting accustomed to optics on a handgun. It's something that I have fought forever. You guys know that about me. I'm not big on optics on handguns, but once I started using the RMR 04 fiber optics driven, I had to address what my issues were with optics and realize my issues have always been about batteries. Yes, glass breakage is an issue, but I think optics are there now when it comes to toughness. Please don't get in the comment section and start asking about every single Chinesium optic out there. I don't care. I don't want to hear about them. I'm not interested. Primary arms, hollow suns, I don't care. Guys, when you go to training at the level that I do, and things get banged around and things are in the cold and things get dropped and things get submerged, you're going to find real quick what works and what doesn't. And that list consists of aim point and Trigicon, beginning, end. That's it. Everything else, not interested. If the optic isn't combat proven, I don't want it on my weapon. And remember guys, if you're in a gunfight and you're down to a handgun, or your fight begins with a handgun, you're already behind the curve. Because bad guys typically show up with long guns to do their damage. So if this is what you're fighting with, you're already screwed. So wouldn't you want to have the best possible setup? Which is why I run Trigicon. And yeah, I pay for these, okay? So don't think that they're giving them to me for free. They gave me a couple for free and I was like, I'm buying more of those. Really? Yeah. Anybody who shoots optics on a handgun knows that what you end up with is the flash sight picture that you're accustomed to with a rifle. The weapon is snapped up, you fire a fast round because you got the good enough sight picture. And that's something for me that has never really applied to handgun because I've never indulged myself with an optic on a handgun, except for my GS17. But that's a different optic that I really wouldn't want on a handgun because that delta that's in there, you better know what you're doing with that thing. And I wanted the circle. I wanted a dot effect. And when I stumbled on this thing on Trigicon's website, I went, oh, yes, please. And they loaned me one. I still have it. In fact, it's this one, and I bought that one. In fact, I'm buying a lot more. But like that right there. When I pulled the trigger, the dot went like this. Because I yanked the trigger. Because I am looking for the good enough shot. I'm not looking for the... Now here, let me show you the perfect shot. The perfect shot is going to be an edge hit. Watch the difference. Notice the violence with which it spun? This is going to be an inside hit. Didn't even spin it, did it? But if I do an edge hit, it spins it. Because I'm catching the edge of the paddle here. So I'm giving it more force, but if I hit here, it doesn't have enough oomph to move it. So that's what you get when you're working with an optic. Now you're not doing rear sight, front sight, bad guy. Now I'm just doing optic on the target and edge hit. Edge hit. In fact, one of the things you can do for your students and for yourself is take that lollipop and paint the slightest sliver of it white. Everything else is black, and you're only going to hit the white. And if you work on that, it teaches you to find your landmarks. Like right now I can see where the previous bullet hits were. Edge hit. Edge hit. Edge hit. That was a good edge hit there. That was a really good edge hit there. I was at a class not too long ago being taught by my friend Shane Cardwell. And I was telling him that the optic, in a very short period of time, has now taken command of my hands. Shut up. It is now taking command of my hands. So what ends up happening is the psychological effect of deciding to shoot is now being taken out of my control, and it becomes a subconscious effect because now I've got just a flash sight picture and I can pull the trigger. So instead of saying rear sight, front sight, rear sight, front sight, all I'm doing is totally focused on the target now, and I can watch it, and at a moment's notice I'm already staging my trigger, and at a moment's notice, finish pulling the trigger. And I missed that one. So it makes for a very curious effect. Okay, right? That was 25 yards. So it makes for a very curious effect in that you end up in a position where you're being mentally driven by your optic. And I know I'm going to eat a lot of crow, and I'm cool with that, guys. I don't care. I've had optics on handguns before it was considered cool to have optics on handguns. And for me to be standing here in front of you and telling you that I'm gaga over this thing, I ought to tell you that it's really good. The price points on these are actually less than normal RMRs because these are not as highly vaunted as RMR 06 Type 2s are. But everything is there. All of the features that you like in the RMR 06 Type 2 are right there. But there are no battery issues. And sure, I give up 50-yard accuracy. I mean, I give up the ability to look at a target way down there and get a nice clean sight picture because the dot is 7 MOA on this versus 2 MOA or 3.25 MOA. But what I do get is the 100% assurance that when this weapon is picked up, the optic is always on because it runs on fiber optics. So, something for you guys to think about. So, as always, I thank you guys for watching. God bless you all. I thank you for your support. Get those guns out in practice. Have a good one.